America, it's time to decide. Enough of this two systems. Let's just pick one. I don't care which one, pick one. All right, we've made it to the moment of truth with this pickup. I step back so you can see all my junk down here. I just got done replacing the fuel pump. So pulled the other one out, put a new one in. I tested the fuel pressure and it was like 0, but I could still hear the fuel pump working. The fuel gauge on this has not worked in probably 3 or 4 years from the fuel pump. So I think the pump has been going out for that long. The pressure on it was like literally like 2, it's supposed to be 50, if you care. But I got it all changed out. If you ever have to change the fuel pump on a pickup, easiest way to do it, tilt the bed, or just take the bed completely off if you got a couple people. So we're gonna start this thing up and see if it runs. What the heck? Did I get a parking ticket in my own driveway? What in the world is this? Oh, it's a gas. They filled up our propane tank. Cool. I don't know why I put it on the car. All right, now we're gonna start this thing up for real. Here we go. Cross your fingers. Fuel pump sounds normal. Little happy dance for you. Now I gotta drop this thing back down, put it all back together. The hardest part is gonna be getting that thing back in there, and then we're back to homesteading. Enough mechanic work for a little while. So a few weeks ago, I was telling you about this trailer. Well, even last video, we talked about this trailer wanting to roll around when we were unhooking it. We did not have this jack on the front of it. We simply used a high lift jack to lift that end up every time we had to pull it off the truck. And we did that for like 2 years. Didn't have any problems with it. I bought a different jack to put on there, but I needed a welder. Never got around to having it welded on. I don't have a welder, I was just going to have somebody do it for me. Never got around to it. Finally I decided to put this other one on that this trailer was actually meant to have, that goes down the middle. Let me show you here. So we did this once before. I welded one on right there and it bent this piece here. You can see that. It bent it completely out. So it sits at a funny angle now. So that jack wouldn't work. So I was going to weld one on the other side. And put a strap across the bottom so it couldn't bend again, but I finally decided just to put one back in the middle like the trailer was designed to have. I just don't like how far this sticks down below when we're driving, but we're gonna deal with it because it was better than not having a jack and having this tip over and kill somebody. You done? Are you done? Okay, let's be done. Stupid turkey won't shut up. Anyway, we were lifting out with the high lift jack, and the last couple times we went to do it, we always blocked the tires, usually with rocks or a piece of wood like that. So we had the tires blocked just like that, and one time the truck rolled forward over it on the other side as that front end came around, and then the other time this backside rolled over it. I decided I had enough of that. I put the jack on there, but it's still just a little bit wobbly. So we're gonna build a wheel stabilizer, or wheel, I think chocks is what they call them. They're like $100 if you buy them. I don't want to spend that much money, and I think we can make our own version that will be easier to use than the one I can buy at the store. I got some parts ordered in for this. I got an idea. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna try it. Hopefully it doesn't fail completely. First thing I gotta do is find my measuring tape. Somebody stole it and I can't find it. Did you steal my measuring tape?
Yeah.
Yeah? You stole my measuring tape?
Yep.
That boy confesses to everything around here. If you ask him anything, he'll say yeah. Doesn't matter if he actually did it or not. Did you steal my measuring tape?
No.
All right, we found the measuring tape. I don't think that's going to be the end of our searching for tools today. I just want to know what the distance between my tires is. At the narrowest point, it is about 4 inches. 28-inch diameter. We're going to use that to draw some pictures. Figure out how we're going to make this. All right, I was going to do this on a piece of paper, but I think I'll just do it out here on the ground with the kids' sidewalk chalk. So, the center point between my wheelbase, my 2 wheels, the center of each wheel, is 32 inches apart. So we're going to put a mark here and one at 32 inches. And then we're just going to put a roughly straight line between the two. So that means we're going to come from each end 14 inches and do a semicircle. There's a rough mock-up. Hey, out of the way. Get out of the way. There's a rough mock-up of what my tires are going to look like. So I'm going to throw a piece of wood on here and see how big I need it to be. So this is just a scrap piece of 4x4. I'm just going to mark on here. So I told you I bought this hardware. This is what it looks like. It's a pull lever latch, I think is what they call it. Let me set you down here for a second, I'll show you. So you're just going to mount this piece on one side, this one on the other, and then it just goes back and forth like that. So that'll hook on there. When you pull that back, you'll pull that tight, hooked on that, and we can cinch the two things. This has a 700-pound capacity. So we can cinch those two boards together at 700 pounds. I think that's going to be way more than enough to hold those tires still. So I got to figure out the distance, the maximum distance I can set these two apart, because I can shorten that with these bolts on there, or nuts on there. So as long as I get it within that maximum distance, then we should be good. So the distance, maximum distance between both ends is 3 inches. So I think I'm going to put it at 2 inches. That'll give me a lot of wiggle room to make this thing work. Hi, you back again?
Hearts worth falling for. Oh, and with open arms I'll carry yours.
We got this in here. Besides the fact that my angles are all wrong, I do not like how thin it is. If I put that to the very back of that, it leaves all this space. I mean, that's probably another 4 inches of tire that's not touching that. So I could put that right in the middle and cinch it down, but I want more of my tire in contact with it. I didn't look at any of them. I just looked at how pricey they were and thought I could make something just as good for way cheaper. So I didn't look at measurements on any of the ones I could buy. So we're gonna go back to the drawing board. These ones are just 4x4s, so that's a 3.5 inch there. I'm gonna go like at least 6, measure it. So yeah, we're gonna go about 7 inches, which means we're gonna have to make our own piece of wood. This will not work, and even I don't have a 6x6, but even if I had, it wouldn't be as wide as I want it. I might have to do an 8x8, which I still don't have. So either way, I'm gonna have to cut up my own piece of wood. So what I'm gonna do, because this is so thick, I can't make a cut through it with one single pass with that circular saw. So we're just gonna get a piece of 2x4. Might even go a piece of 2x6. I think it'll be a piece of 2x6. And I'll get that to fit in here like I want, use that as a template to mark my other ones, and then I'm gonna just mill up my own piece of wood from some firewood we got sitting over here. Mill it up with the chainsaw.
We'll rise, I'll be there when you need me. With every tear that falls from your eyes, oh, you have me completely.
Okay, now that I've marked this on there, we're gonna see if I can slide this back behind the tire and just eyeball where that fits in there. Turns out my template I drew on the ground, way off. It's getting caught on my axle, so I can't put it where I want it to be. So what I'm gonna do is go the other way. We're gonna put my head on that side of the tire. Hopefully I don't get my head stuck in there. And then slide this in there and see if it looks good or not. Not even close. All right, this is like my 5th attempt at figuring out how to do this circle on here. It's starting to get dark out here, so I'm probably gonna have to pick this back up tomorrow. But I think I figured out how to do it. Instead of drawing this on the ground, I'm just gonna draw it on my board. Don't know why I didn't think about that in the first place. I can't tell what I'm doing. Give me a new piece of board. Okay, once again.
Woke up this morning with the sunrise in my eyes.
There's our center line.
Just like a new day, a breath of fresh air in my life. I don't know how, don't know why, but I'll be toasting all my life. My boots and briefcase are waiting at the door. My ride sweeter to meet the one I love. I don't know how, don't know why, but I'll be toasting all.
Beautiful! High five. Go to bed. There. See it? We did it. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pick this back up tomorrow. It's getting too dark tonight.
Oh, it's sweeter. Time here and now. Oh, it's sweeter. The first time around. Oh, it's sweeter.
I'm going to give a quick garden tour so you can see how it's been growing lately. All right, first off we have peas. Our peas have done surprisingly well even in this heat and without being really weeded. I picked a huge garbage bag of them yesterday. We've got 3 rows of beans. They're looking great. I've got a couple of early pickings, but they're blooming like crazy. The potatoes we have not weeded, so it's just an enormous grass patch. You can see a couple of little potato plants in there, but not much. We'll see if we even get any. Sunflowers are growing great. Nice and big. Trying to catch up on some weeding over here. Those are onions. This end is looking great. And the beets. I just weeded those the other day, so they're not doing too badly. The one thing that is doing amazingly are these cabbages. They've gotten so big, I think a couple of them are ready to pick. And our tomatoes, holy cow. We didn't get our second row trellised. And there are tomatoes everywhere. I have to show these pepper plants. The last time I did the garden update, I talked about how these two I bought from a nursery. And those things are huge. Those are poblanos, and they have got so many peppers on them. I'm excited. They're my favorite flavor. But my little pepper plants that we grew from seed are actually have grown a little bit and are starting to flower. So it's taken a lot of time, but they're finally getting somewhere. Our corn is getting very tall, looking nice. We're getting some nice little ears forming down there. This is a new variety we've never planted before, so hopefully it tastes good. And lastly, we have our squash patch. Oh, what a mess. It is like wall-to-wall squash. They're going into the corn. So we made the mistake of planting all of the cucumbers over here next to the corn, and the bigger squash are just taking them over. So I'm gonna have a fun time searching through to pick my cucumbers. But we will have lots of squash, so that's good news.
If I can make it out of this jungle, we'll get back to building our wheel stabilizers. That's my walkway. Electric fence on one side, corn on the other. Due to some stormy weather, it has been a couple days since I worked on this. As you'll recall, because you probably watched it like 2 minutes ago, I marked on this board where we're going to cut. I'm going to use just a jigsaw to cut this out, and then we're going to mill up some other boards to put it on too, so we can kind of use it as our form. Now that I've taken a ridiculously long time to cut me a piece of wood, let's see if it actually works. Alright, we got this all marked up. Got lines on every side. We're going to cut a rough shape, and then we'll start forming that a little bit more like it should be looking. Give you a little preview of what we're looking for. Obviously those are too big. I cut them a little bit too big so I can still shape them. So we are going to use a giant rasp. We're going to rasp away. If I had a big old bandsaw, that would be the ideal way to do it. I could whip that out there in no time with a bandsaw. Do not have one, so we're going to use this rasp and shape it. And we're going to try to get those two ends as close as we can get together. So after a few minutes with the rasp, and then a few minutes with a chisel, and then a few minutes with a saw, hand saw, I realized that this wasn't going to happen unless I had some better tools. So I got in touch with a friend who's got a cabinet shop, a whole bunch of tools, and I ran over there real quick, and he helped us get these all put together. They look beautiful, nice and sanded, way prettier than I would have ever done. So yeah, good to have awesome friends. He wins the Neighbor of the Year award. So we got these all machined up. The only thing we got to do now is put these little latches on there to hold them together, and we'll show you how it works. So there you have it. Just 2 blocks of wood strapped together like that with those little latches, I guess is what they're called. I put the latch kind of a mid range on the length. You can see where those nuts are on there. I can't point because my hands are full, but that way I can adjust one way or the other to get this kind of dialed in at the tension that we want on it to put as much pressure on those tires as we can. So I just finished fine-tuning the tension on these, and these actually turned out better than I even anticipated. My idea was I wanted some wheel stabilizers like this that I didn't have to bring a tool. All the ones I saw online, you needed some sort of a wrench, which I know would get lost, or I'd have to be searching around for one. I want something that was just by itself. I didn't need a tool or anything like that. So I came up with this idea with the latches, and it worked out great. Check this out. One-handed, I can just grab this, flip my one latch, drop that down, pull it off one-handed to put them, store them. Just take them here, latch this back side, so I can just latch them like this. Just leave it in my trailer so that I can go around with me everywhere I go. When I get somewhere and I need to hook these up, I can just grab them, drop one end in the top, and I just hook the back end of it, hook that back end, hook the front end, pull it tight, and I am good to go. Took me a few minutes to get it dialed in because I couldn't find the right tool. It's 10mm. I was using standard. America, it's time to decide. Enough of this 2 systems. Let's just pick one. I don't care which one, pick one. I don't like switching back and forth. A lot of you are in other countries thinking, why in the world don't you just use the metric system? It's easier. I don't know how many people are watching this outside the United States. That's where we are, so we have both systems. If you're watching from somewhere else, please comment below. If you're in the, everybody, just comment where you're watching from. I don't even know where people are at. I don't know who's watching, where you're coming from. So comment where you're watching from. That'd be cool to see. We just hit almost, well, as of this morning, we had 198 subscribers, which is cool for us. Still makes us tiny, but we think it's cool. We also just got a notification from YouTube that we have hit 1,000 watch hours. The only reason that that's significant, the only reason you might care, is because at 4,000 we have to get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours to be able to monetize, which we would love to do. That's not really what we're here for, but heck, if I can make a couple bucks making these videos instead of doing them for free, that'd be cool. But yeah, so we're almost a quarter of the way there. I haven't begged for subscribers in a while, so please subscribe, comment where you're from, watching from. That'd be cool to know. Let us know what you think about this. I'll also put a link to the those latches. I just bought them off of Amazon, but I'll put a link on there so you can find them. And you can like this as well. That's also cool. But we'll catch you guys next time. See you later.